All right, so I believe we're all good now, and I would like to welcome you to this mix breakdown. This is just a mix breakdown for a song that Annette sent to me. Um, it's unreleased, so respect it like that. And it's not her song; it's Sam's song, which has an Annette feature on it, and so she just wanted me to mix to her vocals, her harmonies. Vocals, harmonies, what's the difference? Her lead vocal and the harmonies, right? So all of that making the vocals for the song. And I just want to take you through it um, to see what you can gain from it. So as usual, I'll take you through how the project file is organized, and then we will get to the mixing of whatever. The DAW is Reason. So last time it was in FL. This is Reason, and I'll show you basically Wagwan. So let me take you through the project file. The title of the song is COTH. What did it stand for again? I use a lot of abbreviations. I do not remember the full thing because I actually mixed this months back. The song has not been released yet, so I'm just trying to remember. I always refer to it as COTH even when I'm speaking with Annette or anybody. So COTH vocal mix, usual the BPM there. These are just things that make you a better um, engineer, especially because I mean, when it's being used for any other thing, we know what to set the auto tune to. We know what key the song is in. All of those things. And I also duplicate the project file because I don't want to mess with anything in the actual file. Just so, because in tutorials I'll obviously be showing you a lot of stuff. Anyway, so it's organized from top to bottom this way. So first you have these two. I hope my mouse can be seen. Yes. So these two. This is the master, right? What we had before.
Love for you, so love the.
Where do I let me see. The easiest way to affect this would be from the mixer, right? So let's do this.
Love for you, so love the world you gave your only son. I'm at a loss of words for the kind of love you show me, oh God.
So that's what the song was.
God.
That's was the mix before. Before like she asked me to work on it. Do I show you the whole thing? Do I show you more? I don't know. If Annette watches this back, she'll say, "Eh? You showed them more? You played." Jesus, you're the one I call. So she had a mix going on there, but she wanted me to she just wanted to hear what I would do, right? So as usual, I'd always say like you have to be creative. They're trusting you with, the artistic vision, this, that, and the other. So I don't know why this isn't minimizing very nicely. I think it's done it now. So we just want to look at the sequencer, right? So as usual, I use blocks. This is Reason. So I use blocks to, make my notes and stuff. The way I would use markers and stuff in FL or whatever. So here, let's look at a few things. So first you have the instrumentals, right? So I just asked for the instrumentals only. Wow, I did not realize Annette really wrote according to this. I think that's just in the instrumental. It wasn't added post, so this is what she sang. Very, very interesting. Okay, so the point is she followed the violin. All right, so songwriting secrets. Not follow the violin, just follow the instruments there. Did I delete something? I'm pretty sure I did not. Okay, good. So anyway, we have the instrumental on its own, right? And then you have the instrumental on its own. You have the mix that it was before, right? The mix that was given to me, right? And then you have the lead boss, right? These two are just automation. So I'm automating gain. I'll show you from the rack so you'll be able to appreciate what exactly is happening. Mixing is a little harder, especially if you don't know the DAW, to look at in Reason than in most other DAWs, I would think, just because they work with a lot of wiring and very interesting stuff. So, but I'll take you through it. Just get the idea, forget the DAW. So then you have so you have lead boss, You have this is automation. That's why you see gain tool, kind of like your fruity balance. And then, or very much your fruity balance. Then you have the lead vox. So this is like what she actually recorded to. So you can see her vocal recording in there. And then you have the background bus, right? You have automation. And then you have the way I'm just naming the harmonies. Sorry, it's not color coded in a very magical way, but it's good enough to separate certain things. So the harmonies themselves will just follow the background bus, the way the lead bus just follows the color of the lead vocal follows the color of the lead bus or the lead vox track, right? So you have harmony, a harmony, a harmony, a harmony, a harmony. See, I don't have time to be going tenor, alto, soprano. I don't know that stuff. Just the same way you're on delays. Not that I don't know it, but same way on delays, I don't go quarter note delay of. I can't measure that. You think I'm about to carry the BPM and just start doing mathematics over there? No time for that, brother. Okay. So, but shout out to all the people that do. You guys are my inspiration. I hope to be like you, honestly. So from there, you have adjust high end. I'll also use some special things. So she sends me the stems, and I smack them in here, right? And I just align them to the part that is meant to fall in using the reference of the master. So I made sure everything fell in. Now, one of the typical things that Didi would do is, of course, you listen to the song dry without any effects to kind of get the idea. So this is mixing with the reference track. In mixing 23rd of March, sorry. Look, it's late. I had court earlier today. Just leave me alone. So in mixing 23rd March, right? There was no reference track necessarily. It was just his vocals. He sent me everything raw. But in doing this, there was at least a reference master. There was something that was already done on the song that I just had to listen to and do things my own way. What's my touch? What would I do on it? What would I do differently? How would I approach it? So that's what I want you to see and appreciate right now. Okay? So you, from there, once you've aligned all the vocals in, I mean, you know where everything is kind of going to go. You arrange the project file, how you know, want it, whether you want the lead at the top. Use iPhone as a webcam. Oh, you guys are not seeing this screen. Good. Because why did the iOS update just, what's that? Anyway, the first thing I did was volume balancing. So if we go to the mixer here, you'd see the same layout as that I had in the sequencer. So you have the two instrumental tracks. One is the master, right? And the other is what I'm actually working on, which is the instrumental. Then you have the lead bus. Then you have how vocals were recorded into this, going into the lead bus. Then you have the background bus. You have all the background vocals, right? And all going into the background vocal bus. And then, I don't know why I call this DD lowest. Anyway, you have reverse reverb going on. You guys know it's not a DD thing to you. You know what I mean? And then you have the master, all right? There's a compressor on. I'm not going to disable much. This is meant to be quicker than 23rd of March. If you've enjoyed 23rd of March, please tell in the comment section if you learned anything from that video. So one of the most important things is the volume that things are coming in at, right? So I'm going to turn off the compressor at the master. That's all I have there. It's just a mix. So meaning I'm going to submit it to Sam, and it's his mix engineer and his mastering engineer that's going to fit what I've sent as a mix to them. Right, so that should be your focus. Submitting something good. It's always going to be your focus anyway, right? Bypass master effects. Point is, I did not do any mastering on this. It's just a mix I'm submitting. So you have this here, right? I've put off the compressor on the mastering chain, so there's nothing going on in the mastering chain. The first thing I'm going to solo is the instrumental. Now what I'll do is is minus 11.95. I'll just show you what I did and why I did what I did. Wait, I think I just used a shortcut to automate the thing, and that's not what I wanted to do. I've forgotten how to, I think it's this. Yeah, I've done it. So it's back on 0. Watch this. What I want you to see is that this is a mastered instrumental, and so it's nearly reaching 0. At its peaks, it will reach there, right? But I first decide, anytime you have a mix, you want to decide what is your main thing that you're going to mix every other thing to. That's the first question to ask. So if the keyboard is the most dominant thing and it's the thing you really want to shine, what are you going to raise the volume levels of every other thing to meet that keyboard, right? So I could have done this adjustment from here. In fact, this is what's interesting. So not only did I take out volume from the fader here, I also I've taken out minus 8.29 of gain, meaning that this instrumental is actually much louder than this. But in order to save your ears, I would not. So imagine that stuff was nearly at zero, and then imagine 8 more dB. So it was a mastered instrumental he sent, right? But I took down the minus 8 dB of gain, right? So hardly, except when you're in the final mixing stages, should you really use the faders to automate or to control gain, right? You can use your A gain tool, like the utility gain plugin that you saw. Let me just show you an example of a gain plugin that's going on in here. Let's go to the lead bus. An example, this is a gain tool going on, right? And it's taking out 4 dB. So it's better to use that than the fader, just because you want to be able to, eventually in your long mixing sessions, you want to be able to listen to the instrumental or listen to the mix, and you're just touching the faders, kind of affecting the volume balance between the items. But if you are too busy messing around with them from the start, it's going to confuse your process. And also, all of what I'm saying is part of gain staging, because how your mix builds into the master is really important. And because I also would not have the privilege of mastering this, I need to send in something that's workable, that the mastering engineer won't struggle too much with. You know what I mean? So if it's too loud, I've not given him any headroom at all. Like if it's too compressed, there's a bunch of things to think about, but don't worry, you get better with time. So I've just soloed this instrumental. So roughly what I'm going for with an instrumental, depending on what it is and how dynamic it is. Let me say I want the instrumental sitting, when it's a simple instrumental like this, because it has no drums, right? So it has no kicks that's going to be boosting the meters to infinity. It's just in. It has no kicks and stuff, right? I was going to be disturbing it too much. So part of what I'm looking to do is to have it as almost as low as possible. Let's see where I made it hit, right? Can you see where it is? It's barely over that 20. It's barely over that 20. You know what I mean? It's just there, right? It's just about there. And I think what I did is I adjusted this gain so that it was at like minus 12. I adjusted this gain so that it was like just barely going over that 10. And then it was when I was now mixing in the final stage that I brought it down even further in order to like work with the vocals. Maybe I even mixed the vocals to it. Remember I told you in 23rd of March mix and mastering breakdown that what you use as your reference before getting into something will determine what now feels comfortable. If you start from the high end and you take out to see how much low end you want to preserve in a vocal, that would make you like remove a lot more low end than if you started from the low end and you were moving, you know. And I demonstrated that in 23rd of March. Anyway, once I set the volume on that, right, to, let's just say it should not get up to minus 6, something like that. You want headroom. You want at least 6 decibels of headroom when it reaches the mastering engineer. I set that and I start to balance every other thing. Once I have the lead vocal in, the next thing I'll solo is the lead vocal, right? And what I'm aiming for with this lead vocal, I could choose to bypass all the inside effects so that you hear what the raw vocal sounded like. Maybe I should do that. So Annette is just there panicking right now as I'm about to show you guys this. Oh, but it'll still have all the sends. Can I bypass all the sends? No, not Didi making it worse. Where did I bypass all the things from? Okay, I could just click 1 and click 4 and click 7. I think those are all the sends. It was 1, 4, 7. So I'll bypass them and you'd hear the raw vocal.
For your love and for the grass, Jesus, you're the one I.
Very interesting. Amazing, right? I feel like Annette has this vocal that just makes you really listen. Like, wow, what's going on there? So 147 are just sends. So you have this vocal, it's already good. And I told you that one of the struggles as a mixing engineer is the fact that the singer can already sing. So you're wondering, what do I add to this? But trust me, there's stuff you can do. There's more beauty, even in beauty. So the next thing I'd probably do is cut out some. So you can see that I took out the first thing I would do, right, is aside the sends and stuff, which may add volume, right? The first thing I would do is you see the lead bus fader is even up by like 1.2 dB, 1.25 dB, right? So my phone is just going off. Hopefully, you guys are not hearing the notifications. But with that there like that, I would now use the gain knob to balance into the instrumental. So the easiest way this will make sense is if I live mixed a song for you, but that would take, bro, I can sit in front of a mix for 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean? Just like really messing around. And I guess I used to watch those kind of videos from Mixed by Ali and all these people because I mean, you'd be able to see kind of their process and how they're doing what they're doing. And a lot of people don't want to pay the price, they just want to watch a quick 20-second TikTok video that will just summarize it all. Compression, EQ, then this, but you're confused in front of your door. Well, I guess with enough experimentation, you will arrive at some theory of your own. So, anyway, that's what I did first, gain staging. So, once I've set the instrumental as the thing that I want to mix every other thing into, you can put every other fader to 0 and just bring it in. And even after you've used all your effects on the lead vocal, on everything, you can still put it all to 0 and blend in each like thing. You know, take that with a pinch of salt because I can only imagine that if you set the amount of parallel compression you want on the lead vocal and you now put it to 0 at the end of all that your thing and then you blend it in, you might get confused. So I'm saying the raw stuff is what you should put to 0. So let's just say that would be the lead bus. Mind you, I'm doing all my lead vocal processing on the lead bus. That's important because what's the idea of a bus? A bus carries lots of people. That means a bus in audio carries lots of other tracks. So a bunch of other tracks are flowing into the bus. That's what a bus is for. Okay, so this is not going directly to the master, it's going into the bus. All these harmonies are not going directly to the master, they're going into the bus. And when they're in the bus, if you want to add reverb, you add it to the bus. So if there's an air conditioner in a bus, everybody in the bus feels it if that bus is functioning properly. Unlike killing your speaker, killing the money that the people in the bus have by telling each one of them to buy a fan. Buy a fan, buy a fan, buy a fan, buy a fan. That's like you putting reverb, 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 reverb. Then you tell me you don't know why your project file is crashing. Because you're overworking the computer. Remember, you've not made it to music yet, so you better start getting wise about it. All right. So, once you've done that, you've soloed the instrumental. Now you blended in the lead vocal, the lead bass using your gain tool or the gain knob if your like faders have such an option. The next thing you'd want to do is maybe do same for your background vocals. You'd take them down with your gain knob. This one I did minus 6.25, 0.29. This one I did minus 6. So it's not about the numbers. It's just listening for at what stage do you want the how do you like the mix? Like this should blend into this. How are you enjoying what's going on? It's about sound. It's not about numbers. It's art. So don't disturb yourself over numbers. Okay? So that's what I did. I'll now explain the sends and stuff to you in a second. Right? So that said, I've explained, as usual, I'll give summaries after each thing I do. So I've explained how the project file is organized. I've explained that when I receive the stems, I arrange them to the beat as to where her vocals are meant to fit so that where in the track if it enters. Hold on, what did I do? Why is stuff muted? Why can I not hear what is going on here? Hold on. What's going on, guys? This is muted. Okay, good. If that is muted, what else? Oh, because this solo is on. There we go. So
Was for the kind of love you show me, oh God.
so obviously I use that to align, her vocal, to know where her vocal is meant to come in. Once I've put it in there, it's now gain staging. So that's really important because you want your overall mix to give you the mastering engineer at least 6 decibels of headroom. How do you know that you're giving 6 decibels? It means that if this is your meter at 0 here, your mix is hitting somewhere here at its peaks, but it's well above maybe this 22 or 18. So that's when you've like given enough headroom type stuff to the machine engineer. It will be easier for him to mix, unlike trying to use your mix to, he's having to do a lot of automation because, yeah. So the most dominant part of your song, like where it's so full, should be at that point. Because obviously, think of a song as dynamic as somebody may consider ETMA dynamic, or let me think of any other song. Do you know any songs that are? They start off pretty quiet and calm, and then they just become so loud and amazing. That's a dynamic song. So when you're mastering and stuff, you really want to pay attention to that really dynamic part. When you're submitting your mix, you want to pay attention to the loudest part of it to ensure that maybe your limiter or compressor or whatever you're using to tie it all together is not being choked. All right, from there you've done your gain staging. So you put the instrumental where you want it. You want it definitely not at 0 dB. You want it maybe at this -10. You know what I mean? Or peaking at the -6, just like what you want to submit, right? Once you've set that there, you're now blending in each of the other stuff. But let's get into the lead vocal, and then I'll show you how I balance the faders eventually, because you can see that clearly the faders have been balanced, and you don't see that I'm messing too much with the gain tool here, except I really need to. All right, so let's get into the mix. So this is reason is going to look a bit different to what we're dealing with before. So now that we are here, I'm just leaving this open for the sake of dealing with the smaller screen, so feeling like I'm splitting your eyes into different directions. Don't worry, feel free to admire the devices going on in there. I unmute this, and this is muted. So lead boss first. What's on her lead vocal? Let's first bypass her the effects, and hear what the difference really is, right, in dealing with her lead vocal. So this is with effects on. Very, very interesting singing, very dynamic. The comps were not perfect, because you can obviously hear things. I didn't track this, okay, but aside that, perfect comping is a very difficult thing, which is why some people just don't really comp like that. They just do whatever. But getting used to comping very well takes time, and just listening. No matter how perfect you are, you have to listen a lot to know what going on. Also, just like I said in 23rd March, you can really smack the master into mono in order to hear stuff a bit better. Know how your mix is really doing, especially in terms of stereo compatibility. If it's too stereo, things are too spread out. But let's get into the stuff. Maybe I should explain the sends first, because that would be easier. So send 1 on the lead vocal. Her vocal is going to, I'd have to explain it from the rack because it's properly explained there. So the first one is actually a plate reverb. So that plate reverb is being widened by a stereo tool, and then it's being EQ'd. That is send 1, right? And it's on this preset. After that, the second one is a hall reverb. So I usually blend a bit of a roomish kind of reverb or a plate reverb. I didn't say plate is room, but I'm not that technical guy, so I'm not even going to pretend like, oh yeah, plate sounds like a plate and room sounds like chase your ears, my brother. So you have the first one. I usually go for something roomy. It's not too big, and then I blend it in with a hall. A hall is just to give the song this bigger effect, and the room is to still bring it close enough to the listener, and you'll be able to hear it by the time you experiment with different presets. So with the room reverb, I widened it just a bit, and then, you know, had it through this EQ. This EQ, I did not do anything with any of these. I'm just cutting out low end, and I don't even think I remembered to cut out the low end that I wanted to remove, because I have this theory of thinking that if you are sending a clean signal to a reverb, why cut out more low end also with it in the reverb, right? But if you are sending something that no low end has been cut out of, like a kick or something that's already boosting all the, like, that already has so much bass, by the time you're sending it to a reverb as well, maybe for some feeling, you might as well note how we use like onomatopoeia to describe stuff. If you're sending it to an EQ, you should probably like EQ that reverb, maybe take out the low end so that we can just hear like the mid or highs of the kick instead. In fact, in that reverb, you can use an EQ. I'm just finding a quick EQ. In that reverb, if you have the EQ like this for the reverb, you can even boost some of the highs just because you want to tap into some of the higher frequencies of the kick, however they are. Maybe saturate the kick a bit so that we can also hear some stuff. I know I may be saying terms and you're like, what is saturation? What is this? Start Googling. That is how you learn. Not everything is going to be just put out there. I feel like this bad teacher because some people do this and I don't find it really nice. But honestly, Google, research, and it's okay if you have to search something multiple times. Like you checked saturator today, and you checked it tomorrow, and you checked it again, and it's still not sticking. Just keep checking and keep using. After a while, you'd have an idea. And at the end of the day, every plugin works different. You could have a saturator that's saying mix, and if you turn it to the right, it's getting more saturated. Another plugin that's a saturator says mix, and if you turn it to the left, it's getting more saturated. So don't think of it as just names. Think of it as an individual plugin that you need to understand and take advantage of. So that said, you have send 1 is a reverb, send 2 another reverb, send 3 I believe is another reverb. Let's see. We flip the rack. So this is the thing that you may not like about Reason so much. Yeah, send 3 is another reverb. All right, send 4 should be this delay. Send 5 might be a chorus. Should be this chorus. Let's look at that. Send 5 is the chorus. Yes, it is. And send 6 is another delay. Oh, I remember this delay. Something special about it. This Ripley, I really enjoyed using it. God. And if I'm not mistaken, this Ripley is going into this EQ. So it's an EQ'd delay signal. And then send 7 should be a delay as well. Send 7, right? So that's what is represented here. 1 through to 7. Ripley special. Literally on top. That's how you know that it's named by Didi when it just seems like such a basic explanation. Anyway, amongst other things, of course, when you receive a project file, part of why it's good to name it like this is because when it gets to the mastering engineer, he would also rely on like the BPM and stuff that you put in the project file instead of him trying to find it anywhere else, and even some keys if he's adding autotune. Annette doesn't have autotune on this. A lot of her tracks don't have autotune. It's just not our preference a lot of the time. Yeah, but as long as the autotune sounds very natural to her, like she would like go with it. So I mean, you do your thing. It's just the songs that I've done. Today I put autotune, I will tell you. Let's go here. Another song without autotune is Etiaba. Alright, so next we have, let's look at the lead vocal chain. So with that, I can point you, so you can see reverbs. I'm not even using all the sends that I created, right? So you can see we're using the reverb. 4 is the flanger, we're flanging a bit, and 6 is the Ripley delay, and 7 is also a delay. 6 is an EQ'd 1 delay, right? So sometimes you differentiate between one delay and the other by using filters. So if in this filter, maybe you cut out all the low end so that it's just the highs that are focused, the delay sounds a bit more special. You know, a song with beautiful use of delays, in my opinion, is I Rely on You. I really like how the delays just come after. It just helps the song flow better, fills up some empty spaces. A lot of the time, our production is very, very simplistic, I'd have to say. I even want to complicate it some more. It's very, very simplistic. We just use I just use special mixing here and there to try and give it some excitement. But definitely going to take it up a notch, God willing. So background bus, you have the hall reverb. So you see, with the lead, right? I put the lead in a room. Plate reverb, focused, up in your face, up in your chest, present, you get. But the background vocals are backgrounds. I put them in a big hall. So this is that stuff about stereo image and audio or sound consciousness that you need to have, right? So you put it there. Background vocals are taking the hall and they're taking a bit of the flange in, right? And you're wondering what is flanging. Google is your friend. So what's the most here? Flanging is kind of, how to explain flanging? Just know it's kind of duplicating the signal and messing around with chorus flanger and phaser. They're either messing with the frequencies or they're messing with the timing of like their duplicated signals, or a mix of the two, or even more factors. Just listen, and it's just for creative effects at the end of the day, just so that something sounds different from the other. Okay, like using a plate reverb on a lead, but using a hall reverb on the background vocals, because what does a choir sound like? That's the mentality. So let's now that you've understood what the sends are, I can collapse this so that we can now have a more focused view of the what's it called? Let me just close it this way. Of the lead bus. Okay, so this is her lead, and I said that I'll quickly bypass her regular vocals so that you can kind of hear the difference, what exactly is being done to her vocal. And so raw vocal. So I'm really squeezing her vocal. And I told you that I found this thing where the more low end you cut, now take this with a pinch of salt, really understand what I'm saying, but the more low end you cut, it kind of seems like the more it fits inside the song better. I don't know. It's like the low end just makes a song sound like a person is singing on top of a song. But when you know how to control the low end very nicely, it just pierces through the mix in a way where it's like, oh yeah, it's definitely having fun in there. And Annette is a singer with lots of low end, especially with certain songs. This song is a bit high pitched, so it's not even too bad. But a lot of her songs are on like a lower key or register, so yeah, if you don't know how to control that low end, it could just sound like okay. But listen. And when you cut out low end, obviously it would affect how loud the song is perceived. But listen. Do you notice that it sounds like her voice? You can hear a voice singing on an instrumental, but hear it without. It seems blended inside. It seems like a voice is singing inside a song. I don't know if you can hear the difference. I really hope you can appreciate the difference from your headphones. So, like I said, all these mixed videos, try to listen from your headphones. These headphones are really cool. You can see I'm trying to preserve them with their life. Only God knows when next I'll enter London, So, what are the things I did in order to achieve this mixed or blended in sound? Okay, so one of the first things I decide once I receive a vocal is, should I start with compression or should I start with EQ? That's typically what I'm trying to decide. Typically. So if I feel the vocal is inconsistent, if I feel the vocal is lacking this grit or punch, I might start with a compressor just to even out the volume a bit and have it going a bit more consistently. But if I feel it's a healthy signal that's just maybe lacking in terms of shaping tonality, I will start with the EQ and go into the compressor so that the compressor can somewhat highlight the things that I'm bringing out using the EQ. Hopefully that makes sense. Play it back to yourself and you understand. If the vocal is inconsistent and shaky, I want to start with a compressor just to get this grit going. And when you have a DAW like Logic, oh my, like you can really mess around with certain presets and stuff. Please, if you're just starting out in production or you're even some months in or whatever, it can seem, when somebody mentions a DAW, you just want to go and get it. So, I know why I did that. Some people know. So, don't think it's in the DAW. Trust me, it's in the skill. this is just my guilty pleasure. So you might see me in different doors. But don't worry, I've spent enough. I'm done. I'm done right now. 9 is enough. So now, for the lead vocal, I decided to go dynamics into the EQ. I believe that's what's happening here. That's why you have click dynamic, then post EQ. Or the dynamics is after the EQ, rather. If not, normally the dynamics is before the EQ. So I felt that her vocal is already good. When I listened to it, it was not like it was shaky. It just needed tonality. So I wasn't willing to compress that. That just doesn't sound to me like it needs the compression. It sounds more like it needs to be shaped tonally. So that's the first thing I did. So that's why I dictated here that we should go, what this is controlling, this is determining how the things inside this mixer place is working. Okay, so I'll show you how it roughly is divided. You have the gain up here for this meter. Then you have the dynamics, just as it's named here. Then you have the EQ section, right? Which is meant to, I think, mirror an SSL channel. And then you have the sends, because the inserts. So you look at the headings, then you have the faders. So I decided that instead of having compression into EQ, I want EQ into compression, because that's what I feel for this lead vocal. Hopefully you're catching the mixing gems in here. So if you rate me as a mix engineer, thank you so much. I don't know what I would be without you. You know, your support means a lot to me. So you enter this part, right? Lead vocal, and let's just see Wagwan over here. So in this lead bus, remember that we have the lead track flowing into the lead bus. What exactly is happening? So the first place we EQ'd was actually from the SSL channel thingamajig itself. Let's see what I did. I first cut out some low end. I put a high pass filter. High pass is going high. Low pass is going low. But what it's actually doing means high pass actually means it's allowing highs. Low pass means it's preserving lows or allowing lows. It's cutting out highs. So I first took out 88.2 hertz. Obviously, I was not there calculating with my brain. I was just listening. So let me bypass the effects and show you. Come, there's a way to calm these dynamics. Let me just do these and do these. Right, let me bypass the effects and then bypass the. So you hear how much low end? How do I turn off the EQ? That's the vocal I received. Maybe I should turn off the effects as well. This is the vocal I received, so that you understand why I started with an EQ. The vocal is great. The person is singing, but it's not toned. It needs to be carved to give it a nice, So, what did I do? Turn the EQ on. I thinned it out. So it's defined. What did I do? I cut out the low end because I don't need all that boxiness. I don't need the boxiness, right? So what did I do? I cut out some low end, and then I take some nasally frequencies, them, right? Take it down a bit. Take out boxy, take out nasally. I don't be studying these things using names. Just I'll show you with the other EQs how you do this. You basically point it all the way up, and you listen for what you don't like. There's a way. If I can target this, I don't want to use this because I think if I tweak it, we'll be fine. This is what I do. Okay, yeah, I was just finding the band that's moving it. Good. So it's this. Let's see what I was adjusting. You see where the clarity is from? That is what I'm getting rid of. Right? That's what I'm getting rid of. Control Y. Great. So getting rid of that boxiness there. And then I boost a bit here just for clarity of what she's saying. That's 4.86 hertz for clarity of what she's saying. Right? And that gives you the initial stage of my EQing and process. With this, you're already in the right pocket. If you're using headphones, you can tell how well this left vocal is coming into those headphones. This left background vocal. Incroyable. All right, so let's move. From there, you go to the chain, right? So I've done the EQ. From there, I went into the chain. I don't think I used the compressor here for anything. I didn't use it because I did not want it yet. Voice to one ratio. Did I? Oh, it seems I actually did. I want to see if it's actually doing any compression. So I don't think it's compressing. I promise you it's not. So yeah, oh yeah, because it's not on exactly. So I didn't use it. See, I know what I'm doing. So I did that EQing stuff there. And this is obviously all these knobs you see here are the things that I did inside this one EQ. Okay. From there, you have what is going on in the chain. So we have that EQ, and that's what we started off with. I decided that the vocals are too thin, so I used this stereo imager. I did not widen from, so the crossover frequency is 441 hertz. I decided that anything below 441 hertz should be kept at the original. That's what you have there. But anything above it should be expanded by 8. So it's the littlest amount of widening, but it's doing something. So it goes from that stereo imager into another EQ. In this EQ, when you have EQs like this, as opposed to graphic EQs like this, or EQs that you can see wagwan, the benefit or advantage is that you listen for what you are mixing versus just saying, oh yeah, this is what they said looks like a good curve. Let me curve it like that, right? So what I did in this one, I think it was that I was trying to cut out some low end. But if I really look, I just boosted the high because I didn't touch this. This is 20 hertz. I didn't touch it because I already did the low end stuff there. I instead I used a very little Q, right? You see the difference between the bands? I used that very small band, not the very wide one, right? And I boosted around 3.13 hertz. Clearly, I was looking for presence in the vocal definition. I feel there's no point an artist taking time to write a song only to not hear the lyrics. Like, what are you doing? So mastering engineer, you gotta do something. Mix engineer, you gotta do something, and a mastering engineer as well. So I boosted by 3.13 dB, made 3.13 louder, and then I boosted 6.79 kilohertz, right? And I boosted it by 6.87 dB. That's interesting. 6 point something, 6 point something. This one is 3 point something, 3 point something. Did you hilarious? From there, EQ. I told you EQ is the one thing that I spam when I am mixing. As in the rate at which I use EQ is disgusting. Anyway, from there, and literally I will keep EQing till I feel it's good enough to compress. Because I feel a compressor only reveals what you've been EQing. The same way, like a limiter only reveals the ills of your mix. It just tells you what's going on in there. Because it's going to elevate, it's going to literally reduce the dynamic range. It makes stuff louder. So any issues like noise in your recordings, it brings everything up. So I usually don't compress until I'm a bit satisfied with the EQing. So I brought another EQ and then I started, all I did with this EQ, I only have two parts that can be, like you can boost and cut easily from. Let's just put it like that. This is a low shelf. I don't want to use that. This is a high shelf. I don't want to use that. So that's what I'm saying. I just parameter 1 and 2. That's what makes me spam. In a DAW like Reaper, if you see any other mix, like I just add a billion bands and I just do all the work inside one EQ, sort of. So here you have the band 1 and I targeted 3.296, right? And what I'll do, I can put it back here. Let's see what I was targeting, okay? So this is bypassed. Let's hear what I was getting rid of. Can you hear the whistling? No can do. Can you hear how it's been tamed? Let's boost some more high end so that you know what I'm taking out. Oh, that was the wrong thing I touched. That was the wrong thing I touched again. I'm touching the wrong parameter. All right, that one. See that squealing? That's what makes you reduce monthly listeners. because you made them all deaf. Get that out. Very annoying squealing. I take that stuff out because it's present. Take it out. Then I had the mind to work on a compressor. With that compressor, I set it to, so the easiest way to know how to set your compressor is when you bypass everything, right? When you like turn off all the, obviously all this won't be here, but you now see what level your mix is at. So if I have all my stuff and my mix is hitting, this lead vocal is at like 20, and I want it to be a bit more consistent, I'll probably set the threshold of the compressor to like 25 or 30, because that's where it will start triggering the compressor. It's triggering the threshold. You see the needle moving or whatever. Or if you're just listening to a compressor that's just working with your ears, you'll just be hearing the compression happening. Okay, so the first thing I did with this compressor was set the threshold right to that point. Another way you can start with setting the ratio. So a ratio of 4:1 simply means that for every 1 dB above the threshold, reduce by 4 dB. That's what it means. So let's see what the compressor was doing. I put an attack time of, I think, 0.3 milliseconds. That's what you have there. And a release on auto. When you don't know what to do with the compressor, as in how long the compressor should stay compressing your audio, you can put it on auto and just hope for the best. A good compressor, I don't know the AI and the algorithm and the magic that they use to set these compressors to know what to do when the compressor is in auto, but it works. So you can do that. You see, in 23rd of March, I set the release myself. When you know how to do it, you can even decide, this is what I want from it. I'm not going to settle. So let's see. So anything that was getting too loud, the compressor was acting on it to smooth it out. Let me move to a different part of the song so you don't hear the same line too many times. Okay, so it was smoothing it out. Jesus, you're the one I know. Did you hear that one? And you see the compressor just what? It's just helping that note. Because what makes you enjoy music, I was explaining this, it's a wave. What helps you enjoy music is the fact that it's like continuous. It's continuous. But when it's jumping and rising and falling too much, it's confusing your brain. So we try to make it a bit more stable by using a compressor, by using a limiter, right, to adjust these things. I really hope you're hearing me well, but I really want the volume to be,
power off.
Okay, so from there, you have makeup gain. How much makeup gain did I put in? Just 2 dB of makeup gain. So some people say that when you compress, you should add back the amount you're removing. Man, whatever floats your boat. Because I find that if you're compressing and you add just enough, it can have this compressed, I'm using the same word, but it can have this under the mix feel. It's almost like using a compressor, somewhat like a limiter. You're using it to limit the audio a bit and just bring it up, so the vocal seems like it's just under. An example of a song that's, I believe, mixed like that, if you listen to this song by Drake, SOD, that he just released, you'd notice compared to every other song that you were playing on your phone before or after that, his vocals seem so low and inside it, but for some reason you can hear it. That's a product of good EQing, compression, and especially, I believe, this technique that I'm talking about. So when you use compression to a certain degree, when you just use these tools, when you mix a lot and you decide to be a student or a scientist of the art, you would start to become perceptive as to, this song sounds like it was mixed like this or with this technique. And the only way to learn all these techniques is to fail. When you fail a couple times, you know how to do it by experimenting. So that's the way to do it. Once you go through that compressor, you move to the next thing, another equalizer. One thing about compression, it will bring out the problems, and it has a way of elevating high end a lot of the time. Oh, and a good trick to try, you may not understand this if you don't have the plugin or something. On the LA2A, really mess around with that high frequency knob, because it can help you de-ess the vocal even from the compressor. These are things that you can only learn when you experiment. You go to the M equalizer. Again, I only have these 2 parameters, and that's why they are red like this, because they're the ones that are active. Oh yes, I'm active. Okay, so I go to the frequency 3.829. Remember, almost the same frequency that was boosting for presence. Now I'm cutting out something from it. Exactly, because the compressor probably boosted that place a bit too much. I cut it by minus 9.7. Don't be afraid to go all the way down with the compressor. Let's hear what that problematic frequency was like. Jesus,
you're the one I call.
Did you hear that at one? That there was a whistle.
Jesus, you're the one I call.
Yeah, no can do. Not about to happen. So these are some of the things that are present in the vocal that she sent to me. You see, so that's probably why she wanted me to mix, just to see, okay, Didi, what would your mix sound like? What would the clarity sound like? Because when we heard the song, it just seemed like it's a good song. I know it's going to be powerful and impactful, but something is not standing out about this mix. Like something is not popping about your vocals and stuff. And I put a lot of like pressure on Annette to be like, yeah, you can do this, man. You're that guy. So around here, let's see what I took out. 11.20. So a lot of times when you see these high frequency moves I'm making, like when you look at this, it's because I hate high end problems. And this headphone boosts high end a lot. So you might end up doing overkill with this. But in my mind, if you can make it sound good on headphones that over boost high end, then it means that truly that mix is good. But it can make you overdull the vocal. You'd have a balance with time when you have different references. I mean, play it on the speakers, play it in your car, play it on different things, and you'd be able to tell what is floating your boat. Play it in the bathroom. A bathroom has a way of boosting all this, maybe 300 to 400 hertz. This, you will really know how much bass is too much bass in your mix when you play it in the bathroom. Can you still hear your lyrics very well? Okay, put your mix in another room. Like put the song in another room. Can you still make out your lyrics aside from the fact that you know the lyrics? That's how you know a good mix. So we move on, okay? Once I did that equalizer, I used the gain tool, and I believe there's some automation. Let's look at what's going on.
Jesus, you're the one I call.
Oh, I clearly used this EQ as a de-esser. Let's look at. Oh, I mistakenly turned on the click.
Jesus, you're the
There's no point sometimes using the EQ or TDSer. I don't have, because this is my Mac, I don't have my TDSer plugin that I usually use to de-ess vocals very naturally. So sometimes it's just easier to use It's easier to use a gain tool to just adjust the S's. In 23rd of March, I did the same thing around the end. So you have Jesus. And the thing with S's, they are so prominent that you can remove, like, this is already on -40. You can remove, I don't know how much I removed in the automation. So let me show you how that was automated. The gain tool is somewhere here. So you look at it. You see? So sometimes that S isn't needed. That S that you're preserving, that the reverb should just carry and slice our ears, is not needed. See? We don't need the S's. We don't need them as much because S's can be like felt almost rather than heard. So long and short is you have this EQ, then you have this acting as a de-esser with a gain tool, just taking down the S, because S has a way of sticking out. And there's some people that have a natural sticking out S that is crazy. Like in a mic, you're wondering why the person's S's are just, they're special people, man. So I cut out the same thing. What you just do is very simple to do this thing that I'm doing. You basically just boost, right? You slim the Q. How to do what I'm doing? You slim the Q like this. Right? Instead of making it wide, can you see the difference? Wide, like that. You make it very slim. Then you boost it all the way. And then you use this and you search for a frequency. And once you hear the problem, you say, nope, 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 nope. Take it down. All the way. And then you blend it back in. For how much of it you want. For example, this. Let's find a problem. Too good of a singer, so you can't tell. You see that whistle you hear? So we take it all the way down. Am I touching the right thing? There we go. This is even okay for me because it sounded good already, but I could choose. I think I'm even more comfortable with it there. Anyway, point is, you get the idea. Hmm? You get the idea. That's how we find those problematic frequencies and make the cuts and then blend it back in, right, to find what we want. So this is tone shaping. After that, I have another gain tool. I'm pretty sure they're doing the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing. I think it just duplicated by itself because it literally says gain tool to copy. So I'm pretty sure they're doing the exact same thing. Anyway, from there you have another EQ. I be chasing high end. Once I hear the high end, I'm like, no, I can't deal with that. Annette can't deal with that. Annette is an album that's sensitive for high end because we have a complex around high end. So once it just sounds like And there's something about, so aside the fact I'm showing you what I did, I want you to learn the mind of a mixing engineer. One of the things he's thinking about is mixes that will last the test of time. And a mix that has too much high end will not last the test of time because it will be annoying to listen to over time. But when it's well balanced, your ears will keep taking it in and keep liking it. But when the high end is too much, it may sound good the first time, it may sound crispy and clear, but you will not want to listen to it all the time simply because it's too crispy, way too crispy, way too there. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of hurting your ears. Over time, you have a headache. It's not Spotify. It's not because you're listening to too much music. The mix engineer did not help your ministry too well. I was once reading an article about one Drake song that was done, and it was like, oh, Noah 40 did such a good job in that he ensured, all the problematic frequencies were removed. You want that to be the review on your stuff. On the background vocals, one thing when we're mixing I Rely on You by Annette was I figured that I don't really like when background vocals are too processed. Now for the Ashake effect, or these chorus vocals that a lot of people are using, it's lonely at the top, lonely, you hear these vocals. I feel like when you EQ them in a way for clarity, sometimes if you don't flange them, phase them, or do something to make them very distinct, it could just seem like a lot of very clear vocals. And you may not enjoy the low end of the low harmonies that much, or the high end. So I prefer to volume balance my harmonies, like fader balance my harmonies very well, than to go about EQing each harmony. Sometimes you just need a blend. If you know how to gain stage very well, like if you know how to balance a mix, you may not even need to use EQ or anything on the mix in order for it to sound good. Just your volume balancing of the things without any effects will sound like a song. Literally. So focus on learning your gain staging. And learning your gain staging is just by practice. Decide what your leading element is and blend in every other thing. I'll show you an example of that if I remember by the time I'm at the end of this. So on the background bus, typical stuff, I just widened it a bit, so that you can touch the sides and just feel like this overarching whatever. And then we have a gain tool. I'm sure I was maybe automating the background vocals. What was I automating there? Where would I find it? Okay, here. Yep, it was because I didn't want all those background vocals, their S's to just go slow and finish us. You know what I mean? And that's probably, it's either because they're all starting at the same time or they all have a reverb. Tell me what you guys think by the time the song is out though. I've just done my little part over here. So it was also to control the S's. If I already have S on the lead vocal, sometimes I don't need it on the background vocal. That's why you have some songs and you listen to the background vocals and it almost sounds like the background vocals didn't say the words. Some people just do background vocals, they just go and it will work because the lead vocal is already saying the lyrics. Let something else just do something different. Some people do their ad libs, they barely pronounce the words. Yeah. No. But in the lead vocal, they were like, yeah. Know what I'm saying? So you just have to see that about background vocals. For me, a lot of the time, background vocals is about feel rather than hearing what it's saying necessarily. Like you can tell. You can barely hear the beginning of that S, if not for the that came up after. But you know that she's saying how you love me so, and you know that the background vocals are saying so, but you didn't hear the S in the background vocals like that, saying so. Background vocals are for feel currently in my mixing process. So that's basically what I use to achieve the effect. So I'm going to bypass her lead vocals again, and you're going to hear.
And how you love me so.
I don't know if you can hear the fact that the raw thing just sounds like a person singing over a song or an instrumental versus when it's inside. Listen.
Love me so.
One is more controlled, you know?
Love me so.
Someone says just lower in volume. They play. Okay, so I told you why it's lower in volume, or it could sound lower in volume, because with an EQ, you're literally taking out volume just at specific frequencies. Very lovely technology like this. Okay, so let's put the sends back so you can enjoy Wagwan. Once you have the lead bus going like that, you just want the background vocals. You put them all into the background vocal bus, okay? And on this bus, did I control the input on it? I don't know if I did. I did. So I controlled the level of the bus generically, right? And I just did -6 dB on it and balanced it there. So it's on 0 here. So without any effects, it's on -6 dB. Part of why messing with gain is important. Let me tell you why. If you adjust the gain here, you are adjusting the volume of the original audio coming into the fader. But if you adjust the fader, you are adjusting the volume of the mixed signal, of what has all effects on it. So let me give you a gem that you may only understand by putting it into practice. If you're mixing Afro drums and a bunch of stuff, a lot of times claps and stuff can sound very high-end and annoying to deal with. Or a kick might be eating up too much room. Adjust the gain on the kick. Instead of you say, the fader is on 0. The fader is on 0 and I'm still hearing the kick punching through because the gain is way too high. Turn down the gain so that before that kick hits your EQ, before that audio hits the compressor that you're putting on the kick, before that audio hits any of those things, it's already at a good volume. You understand what I mean? A kick is another thing that I prefer it to be felt rather than just present in a mix. Because have you heard some Afro songs where you just know something is riding, something is helping your body ride, but it's not like you can hear a doom, doom, doom. Because the limiter is already going to bring up that kick. Like it's already going to bring up all the elements. So you might as well just use the gain tool or thing effectively. So once you've done that, okay, you've done your background vocals like that and you've adjusted the issues from the gain, you now adjust the relationship of the harmonies to each other. Here I didn't really bother using the gain because I was not applying any effects on the harmonies themselves. So I could just mess with the gain as to how they are in relation to each other. Okay, so alto-ish, I don't even know if it sounds like alto. Now you could have a harmony like this one, whichever one it was, that instead of soloing from here, let me solo from the track that has a high-end issue, right? I think it was even towards the end, right? You have a harmony that has a high-end issue. Let's listen. Can you hear that harmony? The fact that it already sounds like that shows you it likely has a high-end issue, right? Annette is a good singer, isn't she? I'm sorry. Let's play that again.
Lord, take your place on the throne.
Incroyable. Anyway, wow. So with a thing like that, you obviously have to adjust a bunch of things. Like look at how much high end I'm taking out all over the place. I'm just taking it all out. I'm like As I find the problem using that search up and bend down frequency thing. That sounds weird. But as I use that, we're taking out stuff, right? I think I adjusted gain gain tool is also being automated on it. I wonder what I was automating. Maybe I was automating for it's not showing me what exactly I automated. Maybe it was another de-essing thingamajig. Anyway, what did I do? Oh, it's not this. It was on the high end controller. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. On the high end controller, I'm taking out high end, taking out problems. This is not just high end. Maybe some things that are there's something called resonance frequencies. So if something is disturbing you at 1,200 hertz, it's possible it exists at 600 hertz. I'm not sure if resonance works exactly like that, but I know they're like mirroring frequencies. When you take out from here, it kind of affects there. Because in this life, there's nothing that you do that does not affect the other. If one of your car tires is spoiled, it affects the way the other tires drive, the way the other tires are. So that's how if you deal with a problem, you be like, oh, I've EQ'd this vocal. Why does it sound like there's high end appearing somewhere? It's because of something you did in this low end, you know? Because it's changing the phase relationship, it's changing a bunch of things. So it will definitely sound different. So let's bypass the effects and hear what this stuff was like.
For your love and for the cross. For your love and for the cross.
If you listen with headphones, you would be able to hear the difference. Very subtle, but there's something there. I can only imagine Annette mocking me for the way I just nodded. Anyway, so you guys see that I'm not the only one that she also bullies me. Anyway, alto, I adjusted some things. Definitely there was some high end or some boxiness I was taking care of using these. I didn't use this EQ eventually, so that's probably why I stowed away like that. I could delete it, but well, you can see I did not put anything in the other things, in the other harmonies or whatever. I didn't put any effects. I just allowed them all go to the background vocal bus, and then on the background vocal bus I just spread out the harmonies, volume balanced, and it has an amazing effect. I automated the panning here. Once you see a green box around something, it means I automated the panning, and that is automation of panning around the for the reverse reverb, and then automation of panning on the alto-ish thing. Maybe we should go look into it if it's something special. Hopefully something special. Alto higher, alto-ish ender, something that has something going on. But like I told you, you're the interesting mix engineer, right? So reverse reverb, baby. That's how you do it. If you're wondering how to do reverse reverb, you just basically carry the first vowel or syllable of something, you put it onto a new track, you copy it onto a new track, you reverse it, you put a reverb on that new track, right? You then bounce out or consolidate or render that section, so it's reversed inside and there's a reverb on it, and you bounce it out like that. Then when you bounced it out, you bring it back into the project file on a new track and you reverse it again, and it will have a swelling effect. It's just like a keyboard. When you hit it, bam, the waveform is like this going down, bam. But if you reverse it, it'll go G8. That's how reverse reverb works. So that's why you would now have, I hope nothing's wrong. Just listen to what happens. Hopefully nothing is bypassed in this whole thing majig, because I ain't got no time for that, bruh. Alright. See how it starts.
For your love and for the cross. Jesus, you're the one I call. And how you love me so.
So yeah, I'll say a weakness of this It's probably just the comps, but hey, perfectionist. Sorry. Part of what makes music come out slow. I'm telling you, you can be adjusting those comps forever. Um. So on the reverse reverb, I think I didn't automate the pan. It's just I just have a pan laying there, but I didn't automate the pan. I'll show you. Used for other songs. This is probably something nice I saw. I don't know how to quick on mute. How do you quick on mute? Oh, there we go. How do you quick mute? I hope I can do M again. What was it to use for another song? So I also get inspired with little bits. You know I could turn that into a chord. If I send that to you, Fenna, you just help me add some. You know, just help me add some nice spice. Now I'm saying. Oh, I said to sample an MPC. Let's see. Yeah. No. Get. This is how this song ideas. And Annette will never know I stole it from her. So she can't even come for me for the copyrights, all those cool things. Life of a cool boy. It's not easy. Too much sense. Okay, so if I sample that, I hope you are not scared by that. Hopefully you are not scared, but I definitely need to flip that. If only I'll remember it as it's lost inside this project file. If I did not open this mix, as far as I'm concerned, I would have never opened this mix. I would have never opened this mix. And probably after this tutorial, I will never open it again. So that's how we've forgotten there. But when you guys hear it, you saw it on the WANFY channel first. Subscribe if you've not subscribed, please. So that's basically how I did this. So I showed you what happened on the lead vocal chain. Feel free to go to that part to see what happened on the lead vocal chain. I showed you that the background bus, I didn't really do anything. I just allowed it raw and blended in the faders so that it was nice. It had a blend going on. I'll just play you the last chorus because you've heard a lot of the parts of this song. I hope I've not played you too much of the song. Jokes. So let me play the last chorus and you just kind of enjoy the song. Maybe I'm revealing too much. I don't know. But eventually on the mastering chain, what did I do? I just put the compressor on just to time the mix a bit. The threshold, like I said, you set it so that it moves the compressor 4:1 ratio. A little on the tag 0.3 attack, auto release, 1.9 makeup gain.
For your love and for the cross, no. Jesus, you're the one I call, and how you love me so. Lord, take your place on the throne.
What? Shout out to Sam for an amazing song. Amazing song. He has such amazing songs. Like, go check out Samuel Obina on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. This song will be available to you guys soon. But this is how you approach, mixing a song that somebody has sent for you. I do remember that I told you I'll show you how to mix in stuff. So obviously this you set on the fly. You just decide what your overarching background vocal is, right? So you decide, you can put all the background vocals on 0, and you can start one by one. You just blend them in so you have a balance of all of them, right? Do you understand? Once you have a balance of them all, you've done the whole shebang. You know what I mean? Once you have a balance of them all, you've done the whole shebang. Just find a balance that makes you happy. There was nothing else I did really special. I did a bit of vocal tuning. Shout out to Reason for having amazing vocal tuning. Jesus is Lord. So I was able to tune the vocals a bit, just to get them more in pocket of some effect. Sometimes I'm just messing with the fine tune, really, not really doing too much. She didn't have off notes, if I remember well. She just had things that were slightly off tune. Some people would like to carry with auto tune. I prefer to tune it manually, because auto-tune can be funny sometimes. Ooh, I feel like showing you guys an unreleased track. Oh my days. Often don't like the auto-tune. Many times I use it, often mess my mood. Guys, forget it. It's coming. That's what Sam will say. It's coming. I miss that guy, man. Sam, I miss you. I know you will not see this video. You don't need to watch this kind of things. It's okay. I forgive you. But you can see how I make notes on it. I say reverse reverb, baby. That's what you need there. Then you go might add a few more. Might add a few more harmonies, lowest harmony, because it was missing. Honestly, how you love me ad lib. Yeah, but I think it was fine in the end. How you love me ad lib. Yeah, it was fine in the end. So that was how we did it. We just bounced out three things. I think I bounced it out with the instrumental, then I bounced out just the vocals and the harmonies and sent it to her. So you guys will hear it in the song whenever Sam releases it. Thank you to Annette for the opportunity to use or to mix the song and send in something. And thank you for Sam for trusting that I'll send in something good. He liked it eventually and approved, because I mean, he has to approve it. It's his song at the end of the day, so he has to approve the mix and stuff. So that's basically how we did this. Organize your project file as much as possible, and when you're bounce it out nicely. Tell us the BPM, tell us the key, all that beautiful stuff. I don't think there's anything too much. We're just over 1 hour, so yeah, I don't think I missed out anything that I did in the song. You can see the rack. The rack basically has the volume balancing that went on, some of the automation, and this is how I usually arrange my Reason rack. I put the buses here, then I put the audio tracks here, then I'll put the instruments like keyboard, sax, stem, and then on the last one, the last part of the rack, or last works like this for you guys because that's how you'll see in the screen. On the last one, I'll put the drum stuff. You'll see if I ever break down maybe from scratch for you by Dikanna, Etiaba. Lastly, please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next upload, and follow the artists, subscribe to their YouTube channels. They are all featured on the WANFY channel. So if you look at featured channels on the channel page, you see the artists, their pages, stream their music, enjoy it, really support. It means a lot. It means the world to me when you do. It means the world to the artists when you do. So support, drop a like, drop a comment that, wow, this was interesting to see how music is made, even if you don't mix or you don't master, you don't do any of that. And yeah, just keep supporting the music. We're working on a whole lot of stuff, and it will be out soon by the special grace of God and a lot of hard work. So that's basically the breakdown of this mix. I hope you're able to learn the major things to focus on: gain staging, using your ears to dial in effects as you enjoy them, and being a cool guy. All right, or a cool gal. I'll see you guys in 2031, as I always say. And yeah, master is just there. What was the eventual level I hit on the master with the thing? I don't think I even cared too much. I just wanted it to sound good.
Loving for the cross, Jesus.
Point is, we're at a good point. So we sent that in, and she was happy, Sam was happy, everybody was happy. So hope you guys appreciate it. I'll see you guys when I see you. Much love to you. Happy mixing. Just keep trying, keep experimenting. Remember, failure is the only way to learn. So by the time you mess it up a few times and keep studying your mistakes, you'd eventually find some truth, even though you don't find your reference mix that you miss so much. All right, then. I'll see you in 2000, and subscribe, like, share. Ciao. I appreciate you. Win a name for yourself.